We'll just time ourselves. It's cool, Mark. We'll get this. So we decided to mix things up and figured that we'd have better conversation law-splaining things. We came up with a brilliant idea. That brilliant idea is we're going to let AI tell us what we should law-splain.
This ought to be fun.
You don't think? I think it's going to be great. Ever wish you could grab a beer and ask a lawyer any question you wanted and have him break it down for you? Law-splaining at GRL Law breaks down fancified legal mumbo-jumbo over beers so all may understand. The first one is, what should I do if I've been arrested? The second is, should I talk to the police or answer their questions? 3, what are my rights if I'm charged with a crime? 4, how can a criminal defense attorney help me? Let's do that one.
How can a criminal defense attorney help me?
Yes, because that ties into, do I need a lawyer for this?
Okay.
Because I think, and so let's law-splain the crap out of, can a criminal defense attorney help me? And how can a criminal defense attorney help me? So I'm going to ask you, Mr. Lindholm, you are a criminal defense attorney.
Yes, sir, I am.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah. How can you help me? I'm charged. Let's just say I got an OWI charge. Let's just say, how can you help me? Like, what are you really going to be able to do?
Right? Like, if we searched your name on Iowa courts online, we wouldn't find anything that would make this a non-hypothetical, correct?
Both expunged.
Okay. So the answer is, first and foremost, it's going to take the stress and the weight off of you trying to figure out and navigate your own way through the legal system.
How so?
Well, I mean, specifically with an OWI, you've got, the criminal component and you've got the driver's license administrative component. And most people have no idea how those two interrelate with each other. And so at the very least, as long as you get to me within 10 days of your arrest, the first thing I'm going to be able to tell you is I can keep you driving.
Well, isn't it just a mere formality? I mean, you just follow the paperwork that comes to you in the mail from the license, from the DOT. On the criminal side, you just go and get what everybody else gets anyways on a first offense OWI. Why would I shell out the 10 grand to hire you on an OWI?
Well, okay. So this is you, we're going to use you, not you as a hypothetical. So you need to drive. You need to be able to drive to court. You need to be able to drive to look at scenes. You need to be able to drive your kids around, whatever.
Yep.
When you get your OWI, you're going to get a piece of paper that says you're losing your license in 10 days. You're not ready and capable of losing your license in 10 days. And even if you are, there's no way you're going to get into the DOT right now to be able to get a temporary restricted license within those 10 days.
So that's a big deal that nobody knows about.
Right. So how can I help you? I can keep you driving. And that's a big deal for a lot of people.
Because I can't catch the bus to court. I could Uber. That'd get cost prohibitive.
But think about those people that drive for a living.
Yeah. Sales, CDL,
company vehicles, whatever the case may be. Keeping somebody driving for 60 to 120 days is probably a significant amount of money to a lot of people that we can guarantee is going to stay in their pockets.
And then you mentioned you can't get into the DOT within those 10 days. That's something that I don't think people understand. Break that down for us.
So the way it stands right now, post-COVID, you are actually having to get a meeting time to go in and do anything DOT related.
You have to schedule an appointment.
You have to schedule an appointment, whereas you used to just be able to walk in, wait until your number was drawn, and
All
maybe
day.
there 2 or 3 hours, whatever it is. Now you actually have to get an individualized meeting scheduled before you can go in. And it's been tough to get our clients in that period of time.
And if you're trying to do that, let's just say you get popped on a Friday night into a Saturday morning, DOT's closed, time is ticking, your license is going to get suspended in 10 days. You literally have a 5-day window to try to get in there, and there's very little chance that you're going to be able to pull that off.
Very little chance, which is why we can, as long as you get to us within that 10-day period, we can request that hearing for you and keep you driving. We can get a piece of paper that extends your ability to drive on your full driving privileges with no reason to get a temporary restricted license. So that's way number one.
Are you just prolonging the inevitable with the license suspension, though?
You could be.
Yeah.
Hindsight's always 20/20. You might be, but most people want to prolong that because it's a significant disruption to their life that they're not ready to tackle in 10 days. As we already identified, getting in to get the temporary restricted license is going to be difficult in that period of time. But those people that need to drive and make a living driving, I mean, that's a lot of money for them in that period of time to be able to continue.
Well, and the other fact is you kind of want to know before you have to suffer a serious consequence like that. I mean, we're talking a 6-month suspension, a 1-year suspension of your driving privileges, and if you get a restricted license, you got an interlock, you got SR22 insurance, all that fun stuff. Before you have to endure that for that time period, you kind of want to know if things got done right.
Yeah, make sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. And, in a perfect world, we would, stop that license suspension from going into effect, find some T that was not crossed or I that was not dotted, and be able to save the person's license, and they may never ever lose it.
Yep.
And so that's the perfect setup.
Okay, so you keep me driving. I
Yep.
can keep paying you.
Yep.
Paying babysitters, paying life, paying the mortgage.
Paying your bills.
What else can you do?
As we initially referenced, I mean, I think there's a huge relief that comes off of somebody. I mean, I've seen it physically happen when they come in and decide that they want to hire us, that, all right, my problem is now on somebody else's shoulders, and they don't have the anxiety of trying to figure out how to navigate both the criminal and DOT proceedings on their own.
Well, and they're sitting there probably scaring themselves shitless by doing their research online. Not everything is accurate online.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're, oh my gosh, some people still have the old hard suspensions on their websites
Right.
that are popping up. And by the way, what are you going to do? I have to be in court in a week, but I'm scheduled to go on vacation with my family.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
that's...
what do I do?
That's something that over the years I've realized people value a lot more than I initially thought, and that is not having to go to court. And for the most part, hiring an attorney has the capability of limiting the amount of time that somebody has to take off of work, burn vacation or make arrangements to be at court proceedings.
They have the paperwork, and there's literally 3 courthouses down in about the 1 block radius, and they got to figure out which courthouse they're supposed to go to, where to park, take off a whole day of work.
How do they go into the courtroom? Who do they talk to? Who's a prosecutor? Who's a judge?
Get yelled at for not taking off their hat.
What do I not know about this judge or these proceedings? I mean, a good attorney is going to be able to alleviate a lot of that anxiety and limit those court appearances.
So I don't have to go to that court. I can go on can I go on my vacation?
You can go on
I'm
your-
going to have set to go to all-inclusive in Mexico.
Yeah.
Can I go?
I mean, generally speaking, on an OWI, especially a first offense, there isn't going to be a bond restriction that prevents you from traveling or anything like that. So, and if there is, I mean, that's another thing that we can help out with on the front end, is getting that restriction lifted or removed or lessened so that somebody can go
So
do those things.
holy crap, I can still go. Life is still going to go on.
Your life will still go on, yes.
Not over.
Not over.
Not over. Okay, what else can a criminal defense attorney do for me?
So in the OWI context, I mean, we're going to be addressing the license suspension and trying to work through that and ease any implications of that, tackling the criminal side of this, because they're 2 separate, basically, cases going on simultaneously. We're going to get the guts of the case, the police reports, the calibrations, the videos, and we're going to go through those with a fine-tooth comb, and we're looking for the T's that aren't crossed and the I's that aren't dotted, in hopes that that's going to provide either a factual or legal issue for us to be able to defend the charge, the criminal charge and or the license suspension.
Are you going to just surprise me and tell me, hey, by the way, tomorrow you got to go to court?
No, you would know well in advance when your court proceedings are going to happen. Now, I'll put a caveat on there, and that caveat is that a lot of times, we're reaching out to county attorneys trying to figure out what's going to happen with this case in advance of that court hearing. but they're busy and they don't sometimes get back to us until last minute, or we're waiting for something. So sometimes last minute things change.
Yep.
But no, for the most part, you're going to know when that court proceeding is. We always are asking that our clients reach out to us 2 to 3 days in advance to make sure that it's still set.
If I pay you all that money, though, is that the last I'm going to hear from you?
Absolutely not. I mean, we're going to talk to you as the case progresses. We will give you the breakdown of what we see from the guts of the case, give you an opportunity to look at the videos if you want those, opportunities to sit down and meet with us. A lot of people on the OWI context, like you identified, I mean, there's what we call a licking the wound period of time for a few days before they're ready to
beat the crap out of yourself.
Right, before they're ready to reach out and see about getting an attorney. Well, that eats up a big chunk of that initial 10 days.
Yep.
So, getting to us sooner rather than later is a big component to that. But no, I mean, we try to keep people as informed as we can. Some people, are kind of like, it's in your court, just tell me where I need to be and when I need to be there. They don't want to look at videos. They don't want to, what can we do? Is there a defense? Great, tell me what it is. If not, let's just get this thing moving.
You mentioned videos. What are the importance of videos in a criminal defense context?
Videos are kind of the be-all and end-all to a lot of these cases. The vast majority of police investigations and interactions, especially in the OWI context, are captured on video, whether it's patrol car video or body camera video or station video or a combination of all three. Most of it is captured on those videos. And, those videos are beneficial both to the defense and to the prosecution because we know exactly what happened, what was said, how it was said. It's easy to, before videos, it's easy to change the context of a statement, right? Somebody says, I shouldn't have been driving. Well, what does that mean? Was it, I shouldn't have been driving because I'm drunk? I shouldn't have been driving because I had a suspended license? Is it, I shouldn't have been driving because I was tired? So you can see the context of everything that happens, and it's objective.
And that's one of the most important parts. And can I just pay you half price to read reports and go plead me guilty?
No, it doesn't work that way.
Not here.
Not here.
There's people that'll do it.
There is. It's unfortunate, but a lot of criminal cases, and I think especially OWIs, are getting resolved by somebody hiring an attorney, and those attorneys maybe aren't even getting the videos and looking at them. They're certainly not breaking them down and going through them. And, in the OWI context, I look at my videos with two eyes. The first one is, all right, is there a legal defense to this charge? Is there a way that we can potentially get evidence thrown out or get the charge dismissed?
Whittle the case away.
Right, whittle the case away. The second eye is, all right, if there isn't a legal challenge to this, what does this case look like factually? Is this a case where, I take this into a courtroom and set a jury down, they're going to look at this and say, yeah, I don't think the state can prove it.
Yep.
So.
And then ultimately, we got to wrap this one up. Thank you, AI, for this question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because it teed it up pretty well for us. But then ultimately, the other thing is, if you're not routinely in a courtroom, if you're not routinely handling cases, how do you know? Say you're screwed. Say everything lines up. They did everything right. How do you know what is appropriate? How do you know what is a reasonable resolution to your case?
Without an attorney that knows what they're doing, that person wouldn't know.
You're flying blind, right?
Yeah,
You're hoping for a good deal.
On an OWI first offense, you look at the code, it says you've got to do 2 days in jail as a minimum, mandatory minimum. And so somebody that doesn't have an attorney goes in and they plead guilty, and they may not recognize that they might be eligible for a deferred judgment, which means no jail time can be imposed. But they certainly probably are not going to be cognizant to the fact that there are jail diversion programs that you can do that will give you the jail time credit and complete the drinking driver's course at a hotel as opposed to jail.
You'll like this, and we'll wrap this up with this, because the last trial I had last week, there was actually a juror that during jury selection ended up disclosing that this person had an OWI years ago and pled guilty to it, and blew a .081.
Ugh. That just ruined my day.
It did. It killed me. I actually had to follow up in selection. I was like, did you have a lawyer? No.
Well, I mean, over our quarter century of doing these cases, how many times have we talked to somebody on a second or subsequent OWI and they're like, I didn't hire an attorney on my first one and I wish I would have, or they want to go back and tell you why their first one was a raw deal or shouldn't be considered. I mean, at that point, there's nothing we can do.
Can't do anything about it.
Can't do anything about it. And, you know, OWIs, like some other criminal charges, are enhanceable, meaning that, you know, you get one, you get another one, the penalties become more severe. So it really becomes important to challenge those first ones.
Yeah.
I mean, it really, truly does.
Well, and to answer the question, what can a criminal defense attorney do for me? Everything.
Everything.
Absolutely everything.
Yep.
That's it for this episode of Law Splaining. It's way more fun with somebody sitting here as opposed to me just reading stuff into a damn camera. I appreciate you showing up, Lindholm, and I'm going to invite you back.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, boss.